and that will be setting them up for the bracket stage. So I'm in the game now at this point. So with the introductions and the dirty laundry out of the way, let's move on to Violet Reefs. And like Wingflyer said, this is a just pure water map, which he's correct. TA does it better than all others. I remember the naval and like Red Alert being like when that first came out, I'd be like, oh wow, these are cool, and then just the gunships being kind of pathetic. Okay, just
You mean
let's
the gunboats?
the
Is that what
gunboats,
you're?
yeah, that's right. The little gunboats for things. So I'm at 22 seconds right now. Let's go ahead and sync up. Um, Wingflyer, he's got his own setup, but he's also kind of watching what I'm doing here. So are you at 22? What's your game clock at?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I will sync up with you
Okay. Should I just?
momentarily because I
Yeah, I
want to make
forgot.
sure
I
that
was
we
trying to
were.
get to where you were at, and then I went going. For those watching here, title on this is 18, so it's not like 20 or 22, but it's good enough to get you going. Uh, I think by a metal basis, sonar is more efficient, but by time basis, title ends up being more efficient. You just simply get the titles out faster, and sonars take a ton of energy. So let me know when you're there at 22, and I'll just point up.
I'm almost there. Just
Okay.
give me about 10 seconds. And yeah, guys, the interesting thing is the replayer actually has the ability to do multiplayer, but I've never made it work. So
You
here
have to
I'm
use.
at
I used to do it a long time ago. We would do this. I do like the dual thing, but it would be great if we could
yeah.
actually get in at the same time.
All right, I'm at 22. So
All right,
if you just
ready?
let me know and
One,
we can.
two, three, and go. Okay. So on the top right, we have in blue Jorne, aka therapist, and the bottom right we have Knobgobbler, and bottom left we have Tristan, and top left we have Mealsolutions. So Team Pinky and the Brain is on the left, and Team TFA is on the right. Starting out here, you can see Knob is actually doing the sonar start, whereas Jorn went two titles. He's walking two mexes. Mealsolutions went single title and is walking two mexes. Tristan is also walking two off of a single title. So similar builds from everyone. Everyone's walking two mexes. It doesn't look like anybody's going for any kind of rush here.
Can you explain to me why White is going this mass sonar station?
Yep. So for those who aren't familiar, the sonars, when you build them, they produce 8 energy to power themselves. And then if you turn them off, you can see how they stop moving. Then you actually get to keep that 8 energy. So 3 of them, which is about the amount that a title costs, produce 24 energy, whereas a title costs the same amount as, say, 3 sonars, but produces only 18 energy. The thing is, the titles, like I said, they come up faster. They're much more durable. Sonars are very, very easily destroyed. So Mealsolutions, you can see in the top left, he's got his shipyard up right around the 2-minute mark. We're at 150 right now. Tristan does
Yeah, that's
too.
where I'm at. Yep.
They're each producing 1 skeet apiece, 1 searcher. It actually looks like, yeah, they're both core. So they believe in the core for this. Knob is core, whereas Jorn is he's arm. So we only got one arm sea player right now, ready to swim. Jordan being a literally.
Can you
Oh, go
can
ahead.
you tell me some of the advantages that Core would have in the naval battle? Because in OTA, Arm was always superior in most ways. I
With the
think
exception of naval, actually, in my opinion, I actually preferred
better.
core.
Interesting.
Primarily because the searchers were a little bit cheaper, and so you could take advantage of them. They're a little tougher. This is a nice little rush here down in the bottom right by Tristan. You can see how fast he's picking off those sonars. Just a handful of laser shots. You can see Knob, he's actually repairing the sonar. That's why it's not dying right now. And you can see Mealsolutions doing much the same, trying to take out some titles and raid that energy. Nice job by them there. Good job by, really annoying by Knob to be repairing his stuff. At this point, Tristan, it might be good to try and run that searcher out of there and self-destruct it so as not to leave the wreck. You can see Mealsolution, he managed to get a single title. Might have been better to continually harass that con. But then again, it probably would have died. He wouldn't be able to kill it. So you can see they both left a 76 metal wreck in the back of their enemy's base. And
Right.
now it looks like everybody's struggling on metal right now, which can happen here. And oh no, poor Tristan. If you look in the bottom left there, you can see he started to build that metal extractor off center, so he had to restart it. That's going to slump a little bit.
Yeah, that's actually more devastating than you'd think. You know, in these very high skill games, every second, every moment counts. You know, and so if you start building a structure and then realize you clicked the wrong hotkey or you know, you put it in the wrong place or whatever it is, that can really hurt you. That can really snowball out of control to where, you know, suddenly you're just a little bit behind your opponent and they're a little bit ahead of you, and then they get a little further ahead. You know, it's a horrible feeling. So
Now,
speaking of, I was going to ask you.
one of the key things I want to point out here is that Knob. You can see he's got two Seacons out, and you'll notice down there in the bottom right that he's actually having one guard the other. And this is how I build my C, and how I've done it from OTA a long time ago, where I'll usually send out cons in pairs. The problem is when they get found and killed, you lose two. The upside is, though, they build significantly faster. And now you can see he's actually splitting them up. And there you go. You see in the top right, Jorne's doing the same. He's got a pair of construction ships. Mealsolutions and Tristan, you can see they've got theirs spread out. Actually, no, it looks like Tristan grouped his up. Meal did not. But the other thing to point out is that Knob had those two cons much sooner than either of the opponents on the other side. So while Tristan had a few more searchers, he didn't have the advantage in construction power. So since he didn't really get the attack going with those searchers, he's probably going to slowly but surely fall behind in just sheer resources.
So I was going to ask you, on a map like this, when would you build? When would you go into submarines? I mean, obviously the Skeeters have no ability to interact with the submarines at all, but submarines are obviously a huge investment, especially energy investment.
Metal is there's a significant metal investment. The other thing about subs is they cost the build power. They build very fast, meaning they really suck your metal down.
I see.
And so you want to do it when you have the metal to do it and you think it's going to be effective. The problem on a map like this is if they discover your sub is incoming, they can surround it with their searchers. This is a nice little raid here by Meal. Now you can see exactly what Jordan's doing here. He's using both shipyards, and this is exactly the same thing I do. He's using one shipyard, one ship to repair the other while sending out the shark's teeth there, the little floating dragon's teeth. So this is some really nice micro by Jorne here. Meal might be able to get one of these ships, but no, they're repairing each other was strong enough, and you can see Jorne comes in with his own searchers and drives off the attackers. So excellent work by
That's
Jorne
unbelievable. An inexperienced player would have lost both ships easily, and it just seemed hopeless, but somehow he keeps both of those alive.
On the upside, it looks like for
Very
Team
well done.
TFA, they did manage to pick up a con down on the bottom side. A little sloppy by Knob. Meal, nice job to try and make the best of his trapped searchers. Again, some strategic self-destructing to avoid dropping metal in would be okay. Would not be a bad idea.
Yeah, he's certainly doing what he can after failing to get those two construction ships. But I was going to ask you, which team do you favor in this matchup, in this 2v2? We haven't talked about that yet. Which team do you think is better?
Definitely Team TFA coming into this one has got is favored, but you can't count out Tristan and Mealsolutions. Meals, he's recently returned to TA. I believe it's been almost a year now or something like that, and he's rapidly improving, getting all kinds of good skills. And Tristan has also been a rising star here. This is definitely... Now, here you have a similar situation on the north side with Mealsolution and his two cons. But unfortunately, you can see Jorne just simply has way more skeets to attack. Where Meal was attacking with 5, Jorne just simply outnumbers Meal at this point. And so both cons go down, and all his searchers go down too. Jorne is now completely ahead. And this is a mistake that Meal did. You can see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 cons. He needed to be continuously producing searchers. taking a time out from building searchers to build a con is something you need to carefully consider. Your commander needs to be building skeets, otherwise you quickly fall behind. You can see at this point Mealsolutions is in huge trouble on the top left with 4 cons that can't shoot, and even though he got a second shipyard up, and Jorne has only recently got his second one up, he has tons of build power on that shipyard, but he's just not able to stay alive. So at this point, Tristan, though, seems to be actually successfully catching up to Knob in numbers. But with Meal being in trouble, he's probably really tempted to try and run up there and bail him out. And you can see that looks like what he's doing right now.
Yeah, but he's got to be careful, because if he goes up there to bail him out, of course, White could take that opportunity to maybe hit his base. I don't see even a single torpedo launcher in Tristan's base.
A torp launcher would be a very bad idea. Simply, at this point in the game, they cost way too much metal, and if you're going to take your commander off of building searchers, he needs to be building another shipyard with that much metal. You'd only want to build a torpedo launcher if you're basically desperate and a sub's coming in. Or if you're just like, I've got the build power, I've got the metal, I'm going to throw it down. But another shipyard would serve him much, much better. Tristan comes in on the double, but you can see Knob on the bottom reacting correctly by moving in with his own forces. And this is now going to swing the advantage decisively to the team TFA on the right. Meal does have a ton of metal to pick up, but he has 2 shipyards, no energy.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the game that I casted of yours on Gods of War 2.
Yes.
This was recently.
That's
but
correct.
you had thrown up a torpedo
That's
launcher.
right. And I'll tell you,
because
there's a sub that was already on top of me.
Right.
But the thing that I knew is that sub's line of sight is really, really short. So I was building that torpedo launcher out of the line of sight of the sub. And then Vapor also tossed me like a couple hundred metal. So that way I could get that thing up faster, and I was able to really push it out. And then you'll notice once I used it, I reclaimed it. So
I actually didn't realize that you had reclaimed it.
yeah,
That's hilarious.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, you might have.
So if I didn't, I should have. You can see at this point the game is very over for Team Team Pinky and the Brain. Put up a valiant effort, but at this point they are completely overwhelmed by the numbers of searchers. At this point, they're not quite 15 minutes into the game, so they could walk across up to the midline and then wait to the 15-minute mark to try and go for that tie draw comm bomb, but it's just not really possible. Little thing that you just saw Jorne do on my screen is he killed one of his own skeeters on top of the shipyard wreck. And the point of that was to get rid of the wreck to reduce the amount of metal that Mealsolutions could reclaim. And you can see he's got a Crusader in there now to finish the job.
Yeah, it's the first Crusader that I've seen this game of blues. But yeah, that's how you kind of know it's over. Now, how do Crusaders fare against Skeeters in
you
Pro
get
TA?
one or two Crusaders or Enforcers. It's just like it was in OTA. They're going to get absolutely mauled by a giant pack of Searchers of an equal amount of metal. But what's going to happen is eventually you're going to want to build into Crusaders or Enforcers, and you're going to want to have a handful of them. And a lot of OTA games were played around microing those Crusaders and Enforcers to maximize their effect. Always keep them shooting, but try and prevent them from taking too many hits. Another way to use them is you could actually swing them out in front of your Searchers for a little bit, as kind of like you get them to absorb a couple of waves of missiles, and then you swing them around back behind, with the intent being to just gaining yourself a Searcher's advantage. Jorne says stop wasting time, although that's a little bit rude. This is a tournament game. You play to the end here.
Yeah, I mean the game's only been going for 13 minutes. It's not like it's been a 60-minute game and they're just drawing it out.
Yeah, he says T minus 2 minutes till comm bomb. Really, the point is if Jorne wants the game to be over faster, he needs to end it faster. That's the other thing too, is they can come up here on these little metal islands here and they can degun, which would just be highly amusing if they degun that enforcer, because then he can duck down back underwater and continue to draw the game timeout, which changes how the seeding works. In the event of ties, the amount of game, how long it took you to win your games, is the tie-breaking factor.
But how would they tie this game?
Sorry, that's if you tie with others in your group. So let's just say Team TFA ends up with 9 points and another team ends up with 9 points, then the tiebreak to determine tournament bracket seeding is game time. You can see he's actually just trying to hurt him under the water, but you can see it's not really doing anything. He's just getting nicked when the enforcer shells come in. So he has to come in with the depth charges. He can surround him with the searchers here, and that will protect, that will kind of lock him into place. There you go. You can see Jorne has found Mealsolutions commander. There you go. Tristan popped up for a degun. He might be able to get both these enforcers. If not, Yep, he pops up, but he doesn't have any E. Oh no, there you go. He's right there. He's trying to pop up. Check on Mealsolutions. Mealsolutions is going for the island. There he goes. You can see Tristan coming up. Here you go. He's above. D-gun is off, and down go both enforcers. Oh boy.
That's so annoying. Yeah, for the.
They're just
team.
doing it for the for that game time. This is where a sub is decently useful. Torpedoes are really strong. They can get degunned, but they're a little harder to degun. So when you're trying to kill a commander like this on the shoreline, you kind of have to keep your destroyers at that nice sweet spot range, where you're far enough away that he can't really degun you, but close enough that you can use your depth charges. So at this point, Knob should just basically just go all enforcers and subs, which is what he's doing. I think, see, Jorne's got a bit more experience at handling this kind of problem. Meal pops up to degun, doesn't quite have enough E, ducks back under to recharge his energy.
Yeah, he's dead.
He needs to turn off this metal extractor. He's nano blocking. Oh, you guys. Team Pinky in the brain. Playing for every advantage. I like it.
Yeah, they're not giving up easily.
Yep, but precious seconds here. Now they were past the 15-minute mark, so they could try to walk all the way across, but that's a long way to go and a lot of deadly things. Mealsolutions drops at this point, and that will basically reduce their odds of pulling off a draw to 0, which is basically where they were at before. I'm going to go ahead and increase the speed here. We can. I'm going to move it to 10 speed, and we'll see there Tristan goes, and that is it.
Cool.
So good game, guys. That's the first one down. Victory.